A determined village, Grandpa Sack. The kind cobbler was a man who had seen the passing of nearly 70 winters, a widower who lived his days in the quiet company of his own thoughts and the scent of his trade. His small, humble workshop stood at the very edge of the village, a sentinel of tradition filled with the rich, earthy aromas of leather, the sharp tang of glue, and the faint, familiar smell of old rubber. Within these walls, Grandpa Sack practiced an art that was fading from the world. He was a highly skilled, honest, and traditional shoemaker, a master of repair, whose only tools were his gnarled, knowing hands and the well-worn instruments passed down through generations. He worked exclusively by hand, each stitch a testament to his dedication and precision. Grandpa Sack's heart was as gentle as his hands were calloused. He was known throughout the village for his quiet generosity, a kindness that flowed as steadily and reliably as the river that wound its way past the fields. He often repaired the worn-out shoes of the poor or the village children for free, or for a price so minimal it was barely a token. To him, a child's tattered sandal was as deserving of care as a landowner's fine new boot. He treated each task with the same unwavering focus and respect. He was a frugal alchemist, transforming scraps of discarded leather and fragments of old soles into small, useful treasures. He would fashion durable patching material for a farmer's threadbare work boots or craft small, sturdy coin pouches for those who had little to put in them, but appreciated the security of a well-made thing. His reputation was built on the longevity of his work. The repairs he made were legendary, often outlasting the shoes themselves. He possessed an intimate knowledge of his neighbors, not just of their stories, but of their very gaits. He knew who dragged their heels, who put pressure on the outer edge of their foot, and who scuffed the toes of their shoes while chasing chickens. Based on this unspoken understanding, he would reinforce the problem spots, adding an extra layer of leather here, a stronger seam there, ensuring his repairs held firm against the trials of daily life. His workshop was more than just a place of business. It was the village's unspoken sanctuary. When people came to collect their shoes, they often found themselves unburdening their hearts, sharing their worries and problems in the quiet, comforting atmosphere of his shop. Grandpa Sack would listen patiently, his eyes never leaving his work, responding only with brief, meaningful words of encouragement that seemed to mend spirits as effectively as he mended souls. His compassion extended beyond his craft and his customers. He regularly shared his simple meals of rice and vegetables, or offered a steaming cup of tea to weary travelers or beggars who happened to pass by his shop, offering them a moment of rest and dignity without asking for anything in return. He was a master of discreet charity. With the meager earnings he made, he would buy essential, small items: a bottle of simple medicine for an ailing elder, a small bag of rice for a family struggling through a lean season, or a packet of salt for a widow with many children to feed. He would deliver these gifts under the cover of dusk or early dawn, leaving them on doorsteps without a word, his generosity a silent, constant presence in the village. His actions were not grand gestures, but small, consistent acts of kindness that, woven together, formed the very fabric of the community's well-being. Then, the relentless march of modernity arrived at the village's edge, casting a shadow over Grandpa Sack's traditional world. A new, modern shoe repair shop opened in the bustling center of the village, a bright, sterile establishment that was part of a larger chain. Its windows gleamed, showcasing trendy, mass-produced shoes at impossibly low prices. They offered quick, machine-made repairs, promising to have shoes fixed in a fraction of the time it took Grandpa Sack. Lured by the promise of speed and the allure of lower initial costs, some villagers, particularly those from the younger generation, began to take their business there. The slow, deliberate rhythm of Grandpa Sack's workshop was suddenly at odds with a world that valued speed above all else. His handcrafted durability seemed quaint and inefficient compared to the instant gratification offered by the new machines. The villagers soon realized that Grandpa Sack's true value is not just in his trade, but in his unwavering kindness and integrity. The machine-mended shoes from the new shop began to fail, their quick fixes coming apart after only a few weeks, their cheap materials cracking under the strain of farm work and village life. The trendy, inexpensive shoes they bought fell to pieces even faster, their glued seams no match for the cobblestone paths and muddy fields. One by one, the villagers returned to the humble workshop at the edge of town, their heads bowed slightly in shame, their failed shoes in hand. Grandpa Sack greeted them without a word of reproach, taking their broken footwear and setting to work with the same quiet dignity he had always possessed. It was in this moment of collective realization that the community understood. They had not just been paying for a shoe repair, they had been investing in honesty, in quality, and in a man who had been the steadfast, silent guardian of their well-being for decades. The end of solitude came not as a sudden storm, but as a gentle, warming light. The villagers, now keenly aware of their oversight, began to show their gratitude not just with the coins they pressed into his palm, but with genuine care and affection. They started taking turns helping him clean his dusty shop, sweeping the leather scraps from the floor and wiping down the old wooden shelves. Women from the village would bring him hot, cooked meals, insisting he eat something more substantial than his usual simple fare. The children, who had once been drawn to the shiny new store, flocked back to his wooden bench. They watched, mesmerized, as his hands moved with an ancient, practiced grace, eager to hear his stories of the old days and learn the secrets of his timeless art. His workshop, once a place of solitary labor, was now filled with the warmth of laughter, conversation, and companionship. Grandpa Sack continues his work, but his life is no longer solitary. His days are now punctuated by the friendly visits of his neighbors and the curious questions of the young. He has found the meaning of his existence not in great wealth or worldly recognition, but in the quiet respect and genuine affection of the community he so faithfully served. He still sits on his low bench, his hammer tapping out its familiar rhythm, his needle pulling thread through tough leather. But now his stitches connect not just leather, but the hearts of the entire village, binding them together in a tapestry of shared gratitude and enduring kindness.